Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. We talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today's episode is the second part of our reflection of 20 years of X-Men movies. This episode is just going to pick up right where episode 62 left off. So we're just going to dive right into that. We finished up a discussion about X-Men Origins Wolverine, and we're going right into First Class. So at this point, 2 bombs in a row. What do?
Go for third.
Yeah, June 3rd. Well, I would argue that did not happen because June 3rd, 2011 was X-Men First Class. Soft reboot.
Which brought back Bryan Singer too, correct?
No, this was Matthew Vaughn.
Okay, my bad. Can't do it.
Bryan Singer back
fixes
in Days of Future
everything.
Past.
Yeah. He what?
He fixes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came back and Bryan Singer came back for Days of Future Past.
That's right. Okay.
But Matthew Vaughn directed X-Men First Class. Now, I did not go see this opening day because I was really upset that they released a movie called X-Men First Class that had nothing to do with any of the members of the First Class except for Professor X and Beast. Right?
Beast.
Yeah, I mean, it was Beast and Professor X because we didn't have Angel. We didn't have Iceman. We didn't have Jean. We didn't have Cyclops.
We had Havoc, who was for the first time ever Cyclops' older brother rather than his younger brother too, as well.
You are absolutely correct. We did have Havoc. It kind of made sense, but really, if you look at the script, you can tell. Like, you can't tell me that there weren't parts of this original Magneto script in there, and because they were also going to do like a an X-Men University thing, because like that whole opening with Michael Fassbender, hunting down Nazis, and then he kills one with a coin while he's in the bar. Goosebumps. Like, so good.
Yeah, the movie was decent for as far as I thought. I didn't think it was amazing or anything. I thought it was okay for me.
Oh, I thought it was really good. It was First Class without, it kind of led into what would be the First Class of Jean and Cyclops and whoever else. But I mean, really what carried this was, of course, James McAvoy as Xavier and Fassbender as Magneto. Like, it was their movie.
I think the problem that I had with the movie was Kevin Bacon. No offense to Kevin Bacon, but
he was fine.
I didn't. Yeah,
just a weird movie to do the Hellfire Club.
I felt like they missed an opportunity with the Hellfire Club too. So weren't the Hellfire Club also staging a recruiting class or college for recruiting their own mutants? In the comic,
Emma Frost did. I wasn't sure if it was exactly tied to the Hellfire. Oh no, yeah. It was.
Their school, right?
Yes.
They tried recruiting Kitty Pryde, which would have been a great story there too. The fight between the Hellfire Club and Professor X trying to recruit a mutant to their school. They're both going after the same recruit. Yep. And once again, another great opportunity they could have had for a good movie to really build up that onion for the Hellfire Club instead of having Kevin Bacon just look cool with the scarf shawl around him the whole movie. And
give Magneto his helmet.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Just, I don't know. It was just a very, very awkward storytell of great characters that were not really reaching their maximum potential for a great movie idea that was not explored at all during the movie itself.
Yep, they were just picking characters, and obviously, like, does nobody go back and watch what is canon within this universe? Because like several things get screwed up. Like, in the first X-Men movie, it's like, oh, how can you not track Magneto's mind? Like, oh, because he helped me build Cerebro. And in this movie, Beast built Cerebro, and then Professor X just kind of helped a little bit. And nothing to do with him. So, like, now that's just a lie or just wrong or whatever. Just nobody's thinking through anything, and that should have been the reason why the help behind Magneto's helmet, and no, just Kevin Bacon had it. And then he stole it, from him.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous. And then don't they try killing Wolverine in that movie? They stab him through doesn't he get stabbed and thrown into the ocean in that movie?
No. You're getting it. No, this is X-Men First Class. You're thinking of the Wolverine, which I think is next. That's the Silver Samurai movie. No. Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, you're thinking also of Days of Future Past when they put all the things in him and throw him. Wolverine is not in this movie. Wolverine is not in this movie.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You make like a small
he gets a cameo when he tells.
Yes. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. He tells him to go bad word him.
So he is in the movie.
Yes. Okay. You know what I mean.
They had to get the butts in the seats somehow to watch that movie, right?
Yeah. January Jones played Emma Frost, did a terrible job. Zoe Kravitz, though, played Angel Salvador, a different angel, but an angel from the comics. I really liked this movie. I don't know if it was my really low expectations at the time, but like I really enjoyed it.
I didn't.
That makes me sad.
You know what Kevin Bacon said about how he portrayed Sebastian Shaw?
What's that?
He said, I tried playing him like Hugh Hefner.
Oh my gosh.
Just so you know.
Well, that's not necessarily the worst thing because of, what the Hellfire Club is and like this sort of elitist, kind of group. Like that's not the worst thing. I'm not saying it's completely correct, but it's not the worst thing. Okay. After X-Men First Class, we had The Wolverine, the sequel to Wolverine. And, we were getting a cool Wolverine in Japan story, which he's got a lot of ties to Japan. He's got a love story there, the Silver Samurai. What a train wreck. We went right back to train wreck.
Literally a train. Was there a train wreck in the movie? Because they're fighting on a train at one point. I know that.
They do in this movie too? My goodness.
It's sad because I don't remember a whole lot.
Oh my gosh. How many trains are in the X-Men
It was one of the worst X-Men movies. What?
Now we're just talking about that. How many trains are in X-Men movies?
Lots of trains.
They're always running off the track.
There's at least 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's this one, the last one, Dark Phoenix was a train. There's a train in the one before this, right?
First Class. There's a submarine. They pull the submarines out.
I don't know. I thought there was at least 3. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No.
But yeah. Train wreck for sure.
Start off really good, but then they do this thing with Silver Samurai where he's like Iron Man. He's just like Iron Man armor, and he can make his adamantium hot, and that's why he can cut off Wolverine's claws.
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that. I literally saw this movie once and thought it was so bad I never even bothered.
Yes, me too. I had to pull that.
And then how did they end up explaining he got his claws back? They grew back.
So his bone claws grew back,
but not the adamantium on him.
They never. So here's the beginning of some huge problems. They cut off his claws.
Come on, be honest.
They cut off his claws, so he has bone claws. There's an after the credits scene here, and he's remember what the after the credits scene is? He sets off airport security, but then there's something on the TV about the announcement of the Sentinel program, but then everyone stops. Everything's frozen, and he turns around, and all of a sudden Patrick Stewart's alive with Ian McKellen. And he's like, something's coming and we need your help. And then when we cut to Days of Future Past, no one says why he got the adamantium claws back. Okay.
That's stretched out the adamantium in his bone structure.
That makes sense.
It's like, you guys figured it out. It's just fixed for the next movie. Don't worry about it, right?
Wait. Hold on. Where? I'm sorry. I know I'm stopping something. But as you said, that Professor X is back, right?
Yep. Patrick Stewart.
When was Patrick Stewart, right? When is the after the credit scene of Patrick Stewart in someone else's body?
That's X-Men: The Last Stand.
So there was 2 after the credit scenes?
Okay, I'm sorry. You're absolutely correct. The after the credit scene is Hello Moira, and Professor X puts himself in someone else's body. The chest thing is the end of the movie. I got it mixed up. That's my bad. That's my bad.
Because as you said that, it just clicked in my head. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're still right that was the first after the credit scene. But didn't explain why he's suddenly Patrick Stewart again and not the bearded man without the mind. Now, here's another problem. In the current continuity, Professor X and Magneto are like, something is going to happen and it's going to wipe us all out. And then we go right into Days of the Future Past, right? But then we still have to go back to the past and prevent this. So what were they talking about when they confronted Wolverine?
A headache.
Yeah, what was the timeline? Where is...
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
This is why people are afraid to read X-Men comics, because they went to see the movies and they're so thoroughly confused by what's going on in the movie. They don't even want to touch the X-Men comics because so many time travel moments, so many different team reboots that they think that happens in the comics too, which ironically does happen in the comics, but it still makes sense when they do the comic storytelling.
Yeah.
And the beginning of this movie, Logan's also in Japan in 1945 when the atomic bomb drops.
Oh, that's right. Was it? No, I'm getting movies mixed up now. Was he in the refrigerator in that one, or wasn't he like in this kind of bunker? The whole bomb off, right?
Yeah, this movie. He grabs the guy and jumps down and saves that one guy in the bunker, and he literally takes an atomic bomb to the face basically and survives.
Yes, and yet Indiana Jones can just hide in a refrigerator and be perfectly fine, right? Was it Indiana Jones that did a similar thing, that he hid in a refrigerator during a nuclear blast or something? Or what am I remembering?
Don't kill me here, but like I have not really seen the Indiana Jones movies. Like I saw part of the one with Sean Connery.
Okay, that's yeah.
I've seen them. They were so long ago. I don't know.
It's weird. That's how I feel about these X-Men movies. I love the X-Men comics, but I cannot remember many moments from the X-Men movies except very super rare ones that were just, I guess you could say, so iconic you can't forget them. Mm-hmm. Or it's there are very, very few of those moments that I'm remembering right now, which is kind of sad because I watched the movie. I was like, okay, I got my money's worth, my $8. Once it got to like $11, it's like, no, dude, I'm not getting my money's worth anymore out of these movies. But it's kind of, can you guys name your top 10 X-Men moments from the movies we talked about so far?
Top 10 moments. Well, I'm not going to go through 10, but I mean,
right? 6 movies. We can't name 10 moments from 6 movies.
I mean, not off the top of my head, but I mean, so Deadpool's origin. I mean, I guess that's not a moment though.
You're talking about all the movies or just the movies we just went through?
The movies we've talked about so far. This is like the first 6 movies, right? 10 moments. Can you guys name 10 key moments in any of these 6 movies?
When they come out, does it hurt? Every time. I don't know. That's kind of lame. I mean, I don't know. The Weapon X stuff is cool. You know,
Liberty in the first movie, I thought that was cool when they had the final battle around the statue. For whatever reason, the special effects of that were unbelievable.
So I don't want to derail this, but the Halloween after Spider-Man, I think, we had a Halloween party at our house in New York. Our parents did, and it was a superhero themed costume party. And I was a Green Goblin from the comics. I found this cool Green Goblin mask, and I don't remember what you were that year, Lance. But anyway, my grandma came dressed as the Statue of Liberty because that's where the X-Men final battle happened.
That's a key moment because you remember the Statue of Liberty from the X-Men movie where they're having, their final battle in front of the press conference of the government press conference, whatever was going on there about mutants.
Yep.
Wolverine getting his adamantium in him was a pretty big thing.
Too, yeah. The fight between him and Lady Deathstrike, I remember, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's that was like him getting the adamantium, pretty epic. I said too, it's really kind of strange because I wish I remembered so many more moments from these movies, but nothing's standing out. I mean,
besides great acting moments, I mean, you compare it to the MCU, I can easily name off great moments like Captain America picking up Thor's hammer,
yes,
or the snap, the first one from Infinity War, and then everyone gets dusted, or the first time you see Iron Man, in his armor,
Dude, even Ant-Man, Giant Man had a bigger moment in the Civil War Captain America movie than I remember in any of the X-Men movies of him so large and Spider-Man trolling him. Like,
that was a great moment. It's like
worst moments in Marvel Cinematic and movie history.
Yeah.
And that still stands out in my mind over anything I saw in X-Men over the past 20 years, which is really sad because this is hard because I hate trolling the X-Men because I love the X-Men, but I want to see the X-Men done right, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here, but I'm really kind of mad at myself. I don't remember much about any of these X-Men movies, which is really kind of sad because I love the X-Men.
Well,
there isn't many like memorable moments as far as like that's like straight out of the comics almost, and it's super cool where I think like Marvel was able to keep some key moments out of the movies and change like some minor things, so that way you're always at the edge of your seat, like I don't really know what's going to happen kind of a thing. Because if it was straight out of the comic books, it would be boring. You wouldn't want to watch it because you know what's happening, and it'd be anticlimactic for the fans. Now, as much as I would love to have something straight out of a comic, it's kind of also some things have to change, So
even the fact like it's not straight out of the comic, I just want things that made an impact on my memory of being an X-Men fan.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man Green Goblin stuff was nothing like the Green Goblin from the comic. But I had no problem with them putting on an armor rather than taking the serum because the Green Goblin was still cool in the first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a completely different Green Goblin than anything we ever saw in the comic. But I wasn't like, oh man, that Green Goblin sucked because he wasn't wearing the purple jumpsuit and the Jester hat flying around with a lizard suit on. Do you know what I mean? It was still cool enough that they made changes that worked for fans of both comics and people that wouldn't buy into the Jester-looking, Goblin-looking character that we know from the comic. And I just felt like in a lot of the X-Men movies, they didn't try to really make memorable moments. They just tried, do you know what I mean, getting the payoff of you going to see your favorite actors as your favorite superheroes. And let it be at that, and hopefully that will get you coming back because you want to see what they can do, but it doesn't really matter what they actually do. They just want you to come see it because you know what these characters can do, and you want to see it live action, which is what they've kind of got their meal ticket off of 20 years of X-Men movies from us on.
I think that's a great point because like Spider-Man, I think like you have the iconic moment where Peter Parker gets bit by a spider. You have an iconic moment where Uncle Ben dies. You have an iconic moment, the first time he's in the spider suit. You have an iconic moment in the last fight with the Green Goblin when he gets himself killed by the Goblin glider. Like it was right out of the comics.
Him as the kid. What's your name, kid? I don't know. Spider-Man. Like little things like that moment you remember from them. You can name 10 moments you're doing right now, Blade, from that first movie of Spider-Man. But
and also
X-Men, we can't name 10 moments.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
That is weird. I mean, in Fox's defense, I will say, at least in Daredevil, it was pretty iconic when Bullseye kills Elektra because that was such a comic moment,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there is a lack of those moments for sure. I'm seeing.
Yeah, because they did Phoenix, but it was like Phoenix, and then there was like a key storyline, and then you took it and just. I don't know. You just dropped the ball on a key big moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they did a good job with they did Wolverine's origin. They had him go through the surgery. That was really cool. And that was probably the closest thing that they had to a huge comic book key moment that they actually nailed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for everything else, I don't know. I can't say that anything else was really.
Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting point. Even in some of these later movies here that are coming up, there's not iconic moments.
The writers read a script, they go to sleep, then whatever they dream about, they change the script to match their dreams rather than what they actually are supposed to write about from the concept of the characters. I mean, it's very kind of, as I said too, is like, I don't mean to rip on it so much, but just thinking about it, I've never really thought about it this much in depth of like, why don't I remember a whole lot from these movies? And I'm having this epiphany. It's like, because I don't have anything I can really remember to relate it to other than these characters. They're trying really hard to make you want to go see the characters you love in your comic in live action and just let it live at that. Cool. And maybe I said too, there's probably a lot of people that love these X-Men said like that, oh, do they hit this as nails? But I don't know if we could really find someone that says like, oh, dude, this is so cool for its own thing. Like the Ultimate X-Men in the comics, you know, Mark Miller made that different than the regular X-Men, but it was fun to read. Do you know what I mean? And it's just in even Chris Claremont reinventing the X-Men with whole new characters. If the original X-Men purists, like, everybody seemed to jump on board because it was good. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't your original X-Men. The original X-Men was almost canceled because of how boring it got back in the 60s and 70s, which is kind of sad of having like 3 to 4 years of like X-Men either reprints or no new material coming out at all until Giant Size X-Men 1 came out in 1975. And it was just like the X-Men it's such an expansive universe that Chris Claremont helped build off of these 9 characters that were there before Chris Claremont. And the movie universe has access to all these characters, all these, but they kind of refuse to stay true to the material that was designed for these characters.
It's like the writers and producers like thought they knew better.
Yeah.
Like, this will be better. Like, no. And it just wasn't. And that's sad. But
I'm trying to write to a movie rather than to a comic book audience, I felt like the whole time.
Wasn't this movie supposed to be the movie that it was the first movie that they did, I think, that didn't have an after the credits scene, right?
Are you talking about Wolverine or Days of Future Past?
The Wolverine.
The Wolverine after the credits scene was what I told you in the airport.
That was the second Wolverine movie?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
isn't this movie this movie supposed to be the movie that they said they were going to give him his like yellow and brown costume?
There's a deleted scene, you could look it up online, where the girl, I forget her name, that he's with the whole time, who can like see the future or something, like she gives him a case and it has the Wolverine costume in it. And they cut it because the director didn't want to give an obligation of putting Wolverine in a costume to it, which is incredibly stupid. It's like they almost did the costume and they didn't. And they never did. So anyway, before we linger on the Wolverine too long here, we did get X-Men Days of Future Past next. Bryan Singer returns for this movie, and this was one of the best X-Men movies for sure.
100%.
Movie. I got it. The time travel moments to me kept me interested the whole movie. I got to admit, it's like it wasn't the Days of Future Past that we know from the comic again, but again, similar to what I said, the Ultimate X-Men, they wrote a story that was fun to watch throughout the whole movie. I'm sorry for cutting you off there, Blade. I was just kind of like, I got excited about an X-Men movie.
Yes, no, I mean that's great.
And it's kind of dark too.
Very dark. I mean,
so dark to start off too.
Yeah, in the beginning,
Kitty Pryde work together. That didn't even bother me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It was supposed to be Rachel Summers and Kitty Pryde working with, you know, or no, it's Rachel Summers working with Kitty Pryde to send her back into. But having like, wasn't it Kitty and Bishop the one that sent Wolverine's mind through?
Yeah, I think so. And we had Bishop in the movie, but he had kind of took a back seat to Hugh Jackman and everything else going on.
The apocalypse, not the apocalypse, like villain apocalypse, but that apocalyptic scene when everything was coming to the end in the future. That was such a fun thing to see characters you don't normally see doing things that were really iconic to their characters there too.
I forgot who were the people that they had. I mean, I know there was Story, Magneto, and Bishop, but then
Colossus.
I want to say
the Native American guy. What was it?
That's a Warpath.
Warpath. That was cool.
Yeah.
Who was the girl with the pink spikes?
What
was it?
Arrow? Was she? Again, it must have been not that big of an impact on me, but it was a cool fight.
Right? Blink.
Blink.
Oh,
Blink.
Yeah,
Blink.
Right.
Blink.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't totally close to the comics, but to me, it was just enough to be from the comics and still be interesting.
Yes.
But this is the 7th X-Men movie, and it took 7 X-Men movies to actually do the Sentinels.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't that have been like the second one?
And to get Quicksilver.
Yeah, Bolivar Trask was an interesting character in that too. I mean, I thought he did a pretty good job.
Oh,
the actor that played him. Gosh,
yes.
Who's the actor that played Trask in that?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. I love that guy's acting. I mean, he really can sell a character.
Phenomenal actor. Phenomenal actor. He did a great job as Trask. It was really cool to have both Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in this movie, along with Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy.
Was this Moira McTaggart's reinvention in that movie too, or was that?
No, that was First Class.
Okay, cool. Because I liked Moira McTaggart's connection in this too. Some of the wasn't she involved some of the time travel of like meeting Professor X.
That was still First Class.
That was still First Class. Okay, I said too. They're bleeding together a little bit for me.
Yeah, and that's fine.
This is where we get the first appearance of Quicksilver. Wolverine goes.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, my mom said she used to date a guy who could do that, and then like they never brought that around again, which was kind of ridiculous. And I'm sorry, like,
and he breaks him out of prison too, right?
Yeah,
he ends up breaking his dad out of prison,
and that was fun. Yeah. I will say I liked him more than I thought I would. I thought it was kind of silly. I don't know if it was the trailers or what, but like tell me I don't know something about Quicksilver, but they made him way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. Like the stuff he was accomplishing was insane. You know,
almost like he was a time freezing character rather than actually the speedster.
Yep.
Like they almost gave him Flash level powers rather than Quicksilver Flash or Quicksilver powers.
Yep. 100%. Now, I mean, this was a great movie. I mean, the high stakes, the X-Men die right in the beginning, and then we keep jumping back in time. We have them save the future, and they come back, and everything's okay. And like we see all the older X-Men and Famke Janssen and James Marsden, and then we have the best after the credits scene in X-Men, the entire franchise.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Is this from Nathaniel Essex you're going to mention or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Next. I have something to. I
remember.
But and I knew what was happening as soon as it starts. We opening up on the desert. It's just sand, and we hear En Saba Noor being chanted over and over. I was like, no, and they pan up. And there's this gray-skinned character with blue lips, and he's building the pyramids with 4 horsemen behind him. Like, oh my gosh. After 7 movies, we're finally getting Apocalypse. And they blow it. They blow it. One of probably the worst X-Men movie ever.
You mean that was the Perfect Storm movie?
Oh, am I wrong? Is Apocalypse the worst?
It's so bad, I didn't even bother to see it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Really? Wow.
It's so
I didn't even waste my time. And what's sad though is the fact that Bryan Singer did Days of Futures Past, and then he did Apocalypse. And he did the first 2 X-Men movies. So he was literally 3 for 3 on X-Men movies, and then does the worst one.
Do you think he was kind of that whole thing where he was forced to do Apocalypse and had no interest in doing Apocalypse? A little bit like where in the last Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, forced to do Venom and wanted nothing to do with Venom, kind of choked Venom to a bad death in that movie.
I have no idea. I mean, it might have been the producer or something, because like Oscar Isaac, for what it's worth, he's a good actor. He did a good job with what he had, but like it didn't play out well.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had the same producers when he did basically all the X-Men movies. So
who wrote the script though?
Apocalypse was written by Simon Kinberg, who wrote X-Men 2. He wrote X-Men 2 and Days of Future Past. So I don't know what was happening here. I mean, like, they tried too hard to like tie it into why Xavier was bald for some reason. Like, we needed that explanation right there. One of the worst parts was Magneto in the beginning of the movie. He's off with his family and he's happy. And his character development is they once again have the humans kill his family, and he goes and becomes angry again and becomes a horseman of apocalypse. Like, we already did this. Like, that was all you could come up with was we're doing this again. This made up family with Magneto, and the whole movie, like, Quicksilver thinks he's his dad, and he wants to go admit it to him, and then decides not to. And the X-Men movie's over. He never does it, so it doesn't even matter. It was just bad. Bad. Yeah. Angel was in there, and apparently we forgot about X-Men Last Stand Angel, and this was just some different Angel that has nothing to do with anything.
Was that like the second time they did like a whole cage match type of mutant thing? You know, calling back to the first X-Men movie when Wolverine was in the pit cages. That's like that, because wasn't there like that pit cage scene with
you're right.
Nightcrawler? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I vaguely remember that part of it. The sands going through the city, which I thought was completely trying to resurrect Apocalypse. I don't know. As I said too, it was like, again, not much to remember from that movie that I can think of.
Well, we had Olivia Munn as Psylocke, which we have another great example of casting and great casting choices. And there's been some recent stories, Olivia Munn on the set of Apocalypse, and how frustrated she was because she was explaining this character and her powers and the character's history, and I was related to Captain Britain and this and that, and nobody had any idea what she was talking about. Like, that is unacceptable.
These people don't have any care for their material, and that's part of the problem with the X-Men movies is they see it as a cash cow rather than as something that has roots.
Yep.
I mean, imagine if all the James Bond movies had nothing to do with the book first.
Yeah.
You had to pull those people that know James Bond into the movie franchise. And then look what happened to the James Bond movie franchise, because they tried staying true to the story content. And you made I don't know, how many James Bond movies have there been now? Probably like 30 or 40 at least?
No, 20, 25, I think.
25, okay.
I think it's a little more. I thought it was like 27 or something.
And
26.
And I think they're past doing book material now, right? In James Bond movies?
Well, Casino Royale was a book.
Okay.
I don't know if it was true or not, but yes, I think the latest ones have been past that.
Yeah, so like they built a franchise that people got so invested in that was based off the books, but they stayed true to the original content the whole way through to what this character does. And they've used multiple James Bonds actors, and I don't hear anybody complain about how bad the last James Bond movie was ever in all this thing. And X-Men movies, it's like they're doing the exact opposite when Fox was in charge of it. It's like, let's forget everything about them. Let's change the actors out. Let's try to get this right. But then they never even look at the content. And Olivia Munn's telling them, like, have you even read anything about Psylocke? That you gave me the script that I'm reading off, but hey, I'm getting my paycheck. Cool, I'll do it. It's all good with me. And it just feels like that. Those stories like that are just horrendous. To wonder why, other than just getting the cash off of the name X-Men, what they were doing through the whole franchise. And I said too, I give Bryan Singer some credit because they were trying to at least use some things that were recognizable, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just way too critical of my X-Men because I'm a pretty big X-Men fan. And I want, as I said too, I like good ideas. It's got to be a good idea and not something that seems like it'll turn out to be a train wreck by the time people are out of the theater.
Yeah, and this was a train wreck. There was one good moment that I remember in this whole movie, and that's when, you know, it's going down and they're trying to stop Apocalypse and the Horsemen, and then Jean Grey, played by Sophie Turner, summons the Phoenix Force powers, And then we see the bird and she stops Apocalypse. And it's really cool. Like, wow, we even got the Phoenix Force bird. But literally, clearly FoX does not plan a single thing because 3 movies later, we can do Dark Phoenix and we see her get the Phoenix Force in that movie. So where did the Phoenix Force come from in Apocalypse if she gets it in the beginning of this movie that takes place 10 years later? That doesn't even make sense. Anyway, before I jump ahead to Dark Phoenix, we're running a little low on time. After X-Men Apocalypse, terrible movie, we got Logan.
The best movie by far of any X-Men movie, I think.
Yes.
Wow. For
That movie made sense from beginning to end, didn't it?
Yes, it was very good. Very dark. I don't know. What?
It felt like there was a plot there that had a
like
beginning,
there was a plot,
a middle, and an ending.
And it felt like an ending, like a send-off for Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
And closure to his character. And a fair, a little bit of old man Logan in there, kind of.
Even the clone Wolverine didn't bother me in that movie at all. I was going like that. I was kind of a little bit horror movie-esque onto that, but I'm going, you know what? That's the worst thing from this movie. I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
And what's amazing is the fact that James Mangold, who did the Wolverine movie, that was so bad, ends up doing Logan, and it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
So he learned from
X-23 was fun in there. I mean, it was just stuff. Like, once again, I can name probably 10 things from that movie I like, but I can't name 10 from the first 6 movies, which was kind of an interesting thing. So we know, we got a hit. And then there's so many things you can remember from that movie.
And that girl who played X-23, Daphne Keane, like she did such a phenomenal job playing X-23. It's a shame we're not getting an X-23 spinoff with her within this universe. But my goodness, like they did a great job with her. They did a great job with her origin. They didn't mess with it too much.
That was heartbreaking seeing Wolverine kill Professor X there too, or the whatever was it the clone Wolverine was what killed Professor X.
Yeah, that was really heartbreaking. And he was like going into like dementia or something, and like they're hiding the fact that he killed all the X-Men by accident because he's that powerful of a mutant.
Did he kill all the X-Men, or was it all the mutants?
I think it's all the X-Men.
Oh, okay. Because I felt like it was like almost a little like Scarlet Witchy kind of a thing, except like he lost his powers and killed all these mutants.
Yeah.
Instead of like Scarlet Witch going crazy and wiping out all the mutants.
I thought it was mainly the X-Men. I could be right. I only saw it once because it's so depressing.
It is.
I don't know if I can.
It's a hard watch.
I can get through it again. I mean, obviously.
Oh yeah. In the movie, it was no mutant has been born in 25 years.
Okay.
So he did something that wiped out mutants.
He killed the X-Men. It's just that they've stopped being born. But at the end of the movie, X-23 goes off and
starts a new franchise up in Canada.
Yes, yeah. They have all those little mutant kids. Like it was almost like New Mutants / what was it? What was X-23's group in like
NYX?
Yeah. Was that what they were called? Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm saying. I mean, Dominic Pierce, which I think is a character from the Hellfire Club, isn't he? The Reavers.
Oh, Donald Pierce?
Donald Pierce. What did I say?
Yes. Dominic.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Donald Pierce is the cyborg robot guy.
Yeah. So he's part of the Hellfire Club, isn't he?
Yes.
And once again, they used a member of the Hellfire Club as just a character.
Yeah, he was also part of the the Reavers.
Oh, okay. So he did have the Reavers in this movie. So okay, so I guess that is still correct.
They kind of brought it to the future rather than the present, but the Reavers were around in some of the late 80s, early 90s.
And that's fine. Logan was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really dark, really gory, really brutal, but great.
Caliban, an essential character in that story, even. Do you know what I mean?
Who?
Caliban, the guy that was, dude, the blocker of powers, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And the Professor X thing of him killing off all the other mutants to get out, correct? And he forgot how to use his brain would have malfunctions.
Yeah.
And he gave out a sonic scream that killed off the rest of the X-Men because he couldn't control his mental ability.
Mm-hmm.
And Wolverine was the only one that survived because he had and Caliban must have been somewhere out of the range or something, but wasn't that kind of the explanation of Professor X killing off the X-Men? And that's why Wolverine watches over him now and tries to keep him secluded as much as possible, cause any more damage like that by more or less having a mind lapse again.
Yep. And he's like injecting him with stuff, and he's in the dome thing to keep his powers just in there. Yeah. I mean, it was really sad, really depressing. I mean, they did a great job sending off those characters, you know?
Yeah.
And Professor X dropped an F-bomb in there, right?
That was a little much for me. That was a little much. Could have done without that.
Forgot about his etiquette.
Yeah. Our next movie was Deadpool 2, which was another good one. We got to see Deadpool and Cable team up. Josh Brolin got to play two characters, you know, in Marvel movies, Cable and Thanos. We got to see Domino on screen, which was cool. I mean, she was a little different, but it was a fun portrayal. You know, like I'm a bit of a purist, and I love Domino. I will say I was really annoyed with how they handled X-Force, and then they all land and die. That was super annoying for a gag. Like we killed, it wasn't a Shatterstar, just unceremoniously. Of course, Domino's okay. We have Brad Pitt have a cameo as, oh my goodness. What was that character? Yes, he was the invisible guy.
Isn't it just the Invisible Man or something?
No, he's but what's his character? So Zazie Beetz is Domino, TJ Miller is Weasel, of course Brianna Hildebrand is Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Oh, something I forgot about until recently, Jack Cassidy plays Black Tom Cassidy, who also just kind of gets killed off while they're in the jail. It was really cool. He was in there, and then they just kill him, and that was annoying. But as to everyone's surprise, we actually got a proper Juggernaut.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Really
and
cool.
when you ripped Deadpool in half, it was kind of hilarious.
Now, who played Juggernaut? Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
Yeah.
No way. Remember else played Juggernaut too?
Pretty sure. Juggernaut is credited as being voiced as himself and was previously portrayed by Vinnie Jones. But I think it was Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds provided the voice of Juggernaut. Yep. So that was him.
So wait, was that year the same year we also had Doctor Strange, where Benedict Cumberbatch is fighting himself?
Not the same year. 2018 was Infinity War or Endgame?
Oh yeah, you're right. Infinity War.
Yeah. But yeah, so yes, Benedict Cumberbatch plays both Doctor Strange
And
Dormammu. So he's both the good guy and the bad guy.
That's great.
In the same movie. Yes, that is cool. But I mean, Deadpool 2 was really good. I mean, to me, it was just as, you know, we skipped Deadpool 1 somewhere along the way here because I got so worked up about Apocalypse.
I'm sorry.
But it was fun. It was fun having Ryan Reynolds come back and actually play a proper Deadpool. He did a great job in Deadpool 1. His origin was pretty much right on, without the death subplot in there. It was cool to get the Ajax story. You know, Francis. I don't think they actually refer to him as Ajax. And of course, Deadpool 2, fun little story. The X-Force thing was annoying, but it was cool to see Cable in there.
And Deadpool 2, they linked the movie of Logan with, you know, the little toy of Wolverine being impaled.
Yes,
that's like how they linked. That's how they linked the movie together.
He did the action figure. Now Deadpool 2. No, sorry, go on, Ken.
Did the kid annoy you in Deadpool 2?
Yes.
Because I thought he annoyed me a little bit too in the movie.
It was really annoying, and what bothered me more is like we did this thing where Cable's coming back, but like Cable wanted to kill this annoying kid, and Deadpool wanted to protect him, and it was kind of like a hope thing, but different. And then
was it a bad dream of the Terminator movie?
Yeah. It was weird. It was a weird dynamic. it was like doing Hope without doing Hope, you know? But then he comes back, and isn't his daughter Hope in the future? Or because he's saving Hope, so they did Hope without doing Hope, right?
As I said too, it was like it would have been great if it was Hope in there rather than that kid that was stuck in a prison with Deadpool. I'm trying to remember where that kid came from again.
The kid was in the prison with Deadpool.
Yeah. And why was the kid in the same prison as an adult prison?
Because he was a mutant.
Okay. It was just a mutant prison in general. Just trying to remember something together on that. Because there's a couple things in there that...
the Juggernaut's in that prison too, but he's not a mutant.
Yeah, it's from the Cyberwreck Gym. Yeah, as for whatever reason, a mutant to the FoX, right?
But there is a reference that Juggernaut makes about his stepbrother or his half-brother. Which
that is
of course alluding to... So, you know, once again, we're forgetting that we didn't do that, and now we are doing it, which I guess we can't be upset since they did a soft reboot. Yeah, but no, I mean, the Deadpool movies are fun. I said it before, I'll say it again. Like, I don't think we needed R-rated Deadpool. Like, we could have did a really strong PG-13 because, like, when I want to see Deadpool, I want to see Deadpool 2, I want to see Logan, there were kids in there. And I don't mean, like, 15-year-olds or even 10 or 11-year-olds. Like, I mean, like, 4 or 5-year-olds. I mean, like, there's some crude stuff in all those and really violent. And I don't know, like when Logan is stabbing people through the head and there's a 4-year-old sitting next to me laughing, like it kind of takes you out of it for a second. Logan, I understand. It probably needed to be R. I'm still convinced you didn't need to do a Deadpool as an R movie. Like there's plenty of comics that kids can buy, and you're pushing him in video games that kids can buy, and there's a Build-A-Bear of Deadpool. So, like, it's okay to capitalize on this character, but then you do the movies R, because they still gross the same, and for what? Like, you could have told the same story as PG-13.
Right.
You know?
Savage Christmas cut.
Yeah, I mean, what?
PG-13 movie version where they kind of toned it down a little bit and doing the Princess Bride Deadpool
yes, they did. I haven't watched that.
I haven't seen that.
That's pretty funny.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I still
Josh Brolin did a great job, by the way, as Cable.
Yes, Josh Brolin was awesome as Cable. I mean, gosh, I almost want him to reprise the role, in the MCU. And it almost felt like that after the credits scene where he's like time traveling, and he kills Weapon 11. And it's just cleaning up the timeline. Like, I almost feel like that can like branch him into the MCU because of all the crazy stuff he did, going through time. I think he even kills Ryan Reynolds as he's reading the Green Lantern script, right?
Yes.
Right? That's pretty funny.
Which was kind of crazy. Like when I first saw it, I was like, no way they just got away with doing that. Like that's insane that they were allowed to do that.
Pretty funny.
Actually, it's kind of weird though, because then you're almost saying that for DC that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. It's a movie. It's a movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. DC movies are just movies in the within Marvel, right?
So he killed Ryan Reynolds reading the script that he was going to play the Green Lantern, more or less what Blade's saying. Yeah. So he never killed the Green Lantern. He just killed that Ryan Reynolds that read that.
I get what you're saying, because Marvel Universe is supposed to take place in our actual universe. Like in
New York City and stuff like that. Right. So they can watch DC movies just like us.
That's hilarious.
Out there they're doing,
It's kind of awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
And of course, we're running a little long here, but there was one more movie that has come out that was after Deadpool 2, and that was Dark Phoenix.
What a way to end it.
Well, yes. I mean, they pushed this as like the end of the X-Men franchise, right?
Yes.
And if you want to know what we think about Dark Phoenix, watch Nightcap Chat episode 9, I believe it is. And we talk about it for like an hour. We complain about this movie.
And we saw it, and this is like we saw it like 5 minutes before we recorded it, right?
We saw it 5 minutes before we went to the movie theater. We all watched it together, and then we came back to the Nightcap Chat studio, and we recorded this episode. And it was so much fun recording that episode. But talk about a train wreck. But yes, go back to, I believe it was episode 9. I'm 99% sure. I will edit this if it's not.
Too?
What?
Was that the 9th X-Men movie or was that the 10th X-Men movie by that point then that you want?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Oh, it's 12. Okay. I was thinking how ironic would have been the 9th episode of Nightcap Chat was the 9th episode last episode.
Yeah, that would have been funny. Yeah, what a train wreck. Listen to that episode if you want to hear our thoughts on Dark Phoenix. Obviously, we didn't like it. But now we're kind of getting ready for the release of New Mutants, and we're getting ready for the release, but they said Dark Phoenix was the end. So what's going to be coming out? I mean, the rights are at Marvel. I'm excited for New Mutants. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, if it sucks, they're going to act like it didn't happen. If it's great, it's going to be, I mean, that's good. You know, that's how I feel about it, to be honest. That's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be amazing, but I think it's going to be good.
I think it's, I said too, it's going to be something I think will be a good standalone movie. And if they, found a way to work in the Marvel Universe, we'll get an extra credit scene. If it's something that they feel like that, okay, let's just have this be it, then it's a standalone movie and it's done. And we'll revisit maybe some of those characters, somehow find a way to bring them in. But that movie has nothing to do with the rest of the Marvel Universe unless it really gets, they really reworked it into something they say, okay, this is a launch pad to put mutants into the Marvel Universe. But it's going to be a, I don't know. As I said too, is there any other Marvel movie that's came out so far that is so loosely disconnected that they didn't really have to worry about it connecting into the other part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Not like this.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could write it off as like, okay, it's similar to what they did with Inhumans, where it's there, but we really don't need to have a major linchpin story out of it after it's done.
Yeah, we have to see what happens.
Yes.
So, I mean, we might find out this week because later this week we're having San Diego Comic-Con at home, and there's going to be a New Mutants panel.
Oh, really?
So and they released a new trailer along with it. So, I mean, either this is going to be, there's three possible scenarios. This is suddenly going to tie into the MCU, which might seem unlikely, which would be a cool jumping off point for mutants. And the other two scenarios are it's going to be the end of the FoX X-Men movies. It's either going to be a great end or just an unceremonious send-off and no one wants to ever think about it. And after over 2 years of delays, that's kind of disappointing.
I feel like they wouldn't be pushing advertising and even bothering putting it into Hall H if they didn't have ideas for putting it into the MCU.
So Hall H is going to be the major
Hall H.
Yes.
Hall H. Yeah.
Wow. So that's going to be pretty impressive then if they're putting it, because Hall H is where they make all the biggest announcements at con panels happen.
My only argument against that is you kind of have to consider what's going on. Is like Disney is not making as much money as they normally do, having to shut down Disneyland, Disney World, and whatever. If they can make a few $100 million off of this movie that's already made, it's literally just sitting there. They just have to release it. FoX made it. The money is spent. Money is money at this point, right? And if it does great, can this be $1 billion movie?
No,
I don't know.
No way.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm not saying it is.
This is a $600 million movie at the tops, and that would be like, it would have to like blow away. Like it's not a chance, I think. That's how
it felt very much like I was watching a Nightmare on Elm trailer taking place for the trailers I did see so far.
Interesting.
And maybe they're going to, this will be the first venture of a Marvel horror movie. And Marvel's going to test whether or not can we do horror movies with characters. And
they're definitely going to test it in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
That's true, because that Nightmare is going to be in Doctor Strange too, right? So maybe this is going to test the audience reaction of, okay, cool. If you thought that was cool, wait till you see what we're doing with Nightmare in a real Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not even Disney's experiment. This was all FoX. This is what FoX did. So they're learning lessons on whatever they tried. I mean, like I'm just looking forward to seeing magic in live action. I think that's going to be really cool. But
we could see really underground stuff if they do the whole her in the what they call it, the void, where she's
Limbo.
Limbo. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Where she rules Limbo, and man, dude, that would just be going against Demon Bear if she brings Limbo up again.
Yeah,
that would be some pretty intense scenes. That would be pretty fun.
This is a Demon Bear story, so I mean,
I think the movie takes place in Limbo. I've said it a bunch of times. I think
that's Lance's big prediction for New Mutants.
The whole like house that they're stuck in is just like limbo, and it's just them trying to figure out how to leave limbo. I don't think it has anything to them. I don't think they're actually in a place. They're just in limbo, and it's just that's how it's perceived, and that's what it's like looking like, and they just can't leave it. I think that's what it's going to end up being.
Doing the whole cabin in the woods type of twist.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It remains to be seen. It's definitely exciting, and I'm really looking forward to doing our New Mutants review episode because I don't even know what's going to happen. I have no idea.
When's the movie supposed to actually drop? Is it going to be on like streaming only?
No, it's supposed to come out in theaters next month, but we'll see if it gets delayed again. I wouldn't say hold your breath, but if it comes out, I'm going to see it.
You might have to like drive to another state.
Are movie theaters not open?
No, I don't know. How are they doing here? I have no idea. We're so bad specifically here that I'm like other states might be like perfectly fine to go see it, but I don't know about here.
I don't.
We can go to the drive-in.
You know,
there you go.
Ken, that's a great idea. I hope. Oh my gosh, yes, that's a great idea. You know, for all we know, on Thursday they're going to announce that it's just going to be on Hulu. You know, like we have no idea. You know,
it's going to be on Disney
Plus exclusive reasoning for signing up again for. If you sign up for the 10-year deal.
Yep. Right. Yeah, exactly. My goodness, what a long episode this is. I'm seeing now we're pushing the 2-hour mark. I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call and it's really distracting. I'm kind of thinking I might break this up into 2 episodes.
Cool.
Maybe.
You could.
2 hours is a lot.
I think our 2 hours of material is better than the X-Men 2 hours of material.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I'm being too,
Well, whether or not this is 1 part or 2 part, we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, making us part of your weekly routines. If you do enjoy Nightcap Chat, feel free to leave those reviews especially on platforms like iTunes, like that. That allows us to get momentum and be featured on various promotions and stuff. And of course, word of mouth, goes a long way. Always appreciate your support there. Ken?
Yeah, thanks you guys for listening again. It's been a fun talk of X-Men, and I apologize to all the X-Men fans. A bit too brutal on the X-Men. I'm very proud to be an X-Men comic fan and X-Men cartoon fan and Ultimate X-Men fan, and X-Men movies are. I'd rather have bad X-Men movies. So
you'd rather have bad X-Men movies than what?
I'd rather have bad X-Men movies than no X-Men movies.
Yeah.
The same reason me being a football fan, because I'd rather have some form of football in Phoenix than no football in Phoenix. Or else enjoy the sports that they love. But other than that, that's just my disclaimer at the end. JohnnyComics.com, store in Glendale, Arizona. And then also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just want to say we love comics the same way you guys all. Appreciate you sharing your ideas and thoughts about the world of comic books and the universes around.
Lance.
Well, thanks for hanging out for this 1 or 2 episodes. Not sure yet. It was fun going down memory lane with some of these X-Men movies, sort of, for some of them at least. For others, it was pretty bad. But you can come check me out at Twitch at Tales of Lance and on Twitter and Instagram at Tales of Lance, and come hang out and let me know how much you loved or hated the X-Men movies, and can have a laugh or a cry. Let me know.
That's right. Thank you all for tuning in. We love you. Be safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Have a good week.
Thank you, guys.